Hi everyone. Welcome to the Taurus season video. Post new moon in Aries. April and May, where warm soil makes everything bloom. The incense you see on screen is made of rose and I don't know what else, but it's a mix. Obviously, the crystal in front of you is a very beautiful amethyst from Tucson. Not found in Tucson, but bought in Tucson. Have any of you been watching the new Netflix anime called Dandelion? Because the Taurus season astrology, the Dandelion anime, and the actual perennial flowering weed that is the actual dandelion, they all blend very well together, especially with the current Pluto and Aquarius transit. Lots of alignments, pretty pertinent to what's going on. That said, it's good to remember that Taurus season is a time for stabilizing what works. Stabilize what works. Sensitize your time, Easiest way to sensitize your time is the 5 senses. Easy peasy. Of course, that's going to require everyone to slow down despite how speedy things seem to be going on around us, around the world, in our lives, in our neighborhoods, wherever you feel like time is speeding up. Just remember, stabilize what works, and of course, feeling grateful for what's already appreciating makes that fun. It can make it easy. It can slow your time down and keep you in tune with your method and your pace. So a really good rule of thumb, Taurus season, is sensitize your time, mind your method, and mind your pace. So let me explain a little bit. I'm not going to tell you everything about the anime, but let me just explain a few things. So first things first, dandelions, which are perennials, they bloom during Taurus season and then they bloom again during the crisp autumn Scorpio weather. And Pluto in Aquarius will square Taurus season and Scorpio season. And considering Taurus is happy, the moon is happy in Taurus season, Venus in Taurus is at home. It does matter that in Scorpio season, when we experience another Pluto square to the sun, there will be a Venus retrograde. So when I say mind your pace, mind your method, be sensitive to your senses, It's not a strategy, it's just a way of life. Get into it if you want to. It's really up to you, no one's telling you what to do. But if you clicked on this video because you appreciate tarot for what it is and the astrology within the cards, then, you know, it's a really, really good time to notice what's already working, appreciate it even more. When people are loved, they grow. That's all. It's very simple. So when you love yourself, you grow. If I'm not making that clear enough. Taurus is self-image, personal value. You know, your value system comes before your belief system. Okay, second, this anime called Dandelion. So it came out on Netflix right before the new moon in Aries. And basically, in this anime, the angels of the Dandelion squad really exude the Pluto and Aquarius vibe. So if you'd like to see that in action, I highly recommend, because it really speaks to the square that we are all experiencing. I mean, the sun squared Pluto before Taurus season began, but it is worth noting that that will go on for a good chunk of Taurus season. Now, these angels are essentially responsible for cleaning up earthly residue of like stubborn souls refusing the afterlife. They're not ready, they're stuck in the past, whatever it is. This little dandelion squad is responsible for helping them move on. Of course, with ties to the underworld, aka Pluto. This little dandelion squad helps souls resolve their human regrets, usually in pursuit of peace. Interesting. Because without that peace, they cannot move onward. And of course, within the Dandelion squad, there's an understanding that it does matter to be aware of the pace that someone else is moving at if you're really going to help them. Okay, let's shift this. So some of us feel like that card right there, I'll tell you that much. The world reversed. Mind your pace. Mind your method. If you don't want to meet people where they're at, don't. It's really rude to force love, especially during Taurus season, because it's not gonna come across like love. Oh, also, if you do that, typically what's common is that whoever you're helping, whoever you think you're helping, they will resent you. So, you know, just saying. Now, thirdly, there's this internal locus of peace that I encourage everyone to center in on. It's like the nucleus of this Taurus season. There's so much astrology, I'm not going to talk about all of it. But if it pops up in the cards, well, we'll mention it. What matters is this Sun square Pluto vibe. It's a yin mood, you know, with splashes of yang involved. So forced improvements in true Taurus fashion, we're talking about the bull symbol. So do not corner the bull. You will not get the result you want. And if you're only motivated by, how do I say this? If you're motivated by valuing the having or the possession of what you appreciate, what you want, it really misses the bullseye and the target entirely. Like, even just between you and yourself, but especially with other people. So the least we can all do is maybe turn that world card around, yeah? I think so. Taurus season is a sublime time to recognize which of your values directs the experience of your life. Be responsible for you. And if the Pluto square doesn't make you feel a little hot about that, it will. There's too much astrology that is so poignant, so, no, poignant is the right word. Yeah. Pluto in Aquarius, just in general, is a very, that's interesting. So these two cards came out together. Okay. Yeah, and what I was going to say was Pluto in Aquarius is a very iconoclastic vibe. Like, the behavior is, this doesn't work, let's change it, and hurry the fuck up. Taurus season doesn't want to be talked to like that. And I just think maybe at another time that kind of lingo might fly, but right now, maybe steer clear of certain ways of speaking to people. It's the classic, if you have nothing kind to say, just don't. I've been practicing that since Aries season. But with the astrology going on, I just highly recommend, just, oh God, just, pay attention to how sensitive you are to your hours, your days, your weeks. Appreciation is the motivation. Therefore, mind your pace. Because sustenance is rooted in appreciating what's valuable. And appreciating what's valuable usually is not a rushed job, and it's not a job at all. It is a pleasure. So, if you choose to simmer your pace, the observed synchronicities are very easy to notice. Dare I say, it's actually a mood boost. It actually feels fun. That King of Wands is Leo energy, which, as we all know, if you're familiar with astrology, Leo opposes Aquarius. And all the fixed signs are in that world card. And then we have an Aquarius card in the middle. So if that doesn't spell out everything I've been saying the entire time, I don't really know what does. There's a lot of shifty behavior, and it's really worthless to attach your internal I don't know, mode of function. I'm not sure how to phrase it the way I'd like, but appreciation is the motivation, literally. And your method, if you mind it, can snap you out of being hyper-focused on the card that's in the middle. Good old Five of Swords. Taking more than you should. Looking behind your shoulders. Thinking you're getting away with it, but also paranoid about whether or not you really are getting away with it. You, someone else, whoever, that's just the daily atmosphere. And it doesn't seem to rule the day. It doesn't seem to be effective. And that King of Wands, despite the focus on it, considering it is upright, I don't think it's worth worrying or investing your mood into the fact that whatever you're observing is upside down. Okay, thanks, moving on. Literally, actually moving on. Internal locus of peace, not control. Peace, not control. So, this King of Wands, friendly, mature, a backbone to handle the immature. The other thing about a King of Wands is typically in the Rider-Waite Tarot, it's implied that he is honest. So, considering the swords are there, let me just mention that for like a week, technically 8 days, April 23rd, starting April 23rd, Mercury squares Jupiter. Let's just sit with that. There is a stubbornness that if it shows up, it's likely to justify a refusal to update our method. Probably around this new world you're building privately on the inside of your mind, inside your heart, a space you hold dear to you, that if it were crushed, you don't know if you could recover. What is your method of connection? What's your method of healing? By autumn, it's going to reflect that. It's going to reflect whether you minded your pace, your business, your method, your motion. So I do like that we see the King of Wands honestly taking a look at what isn't working, and with a maturity, it is way easier to find a way to appreciate what is so obviously not working, because then you know exactly what not to keep doing, or you know what to stop focusing on, etc., etc. The other thing is, what if we lean into our loyalties? Taurus, as an archetype, is very centered around loyalties, just like Scorpio. They just do it in a different way. So if you think Venus retrograde in Libra and Scorpio season is not going to show you where to grow or how you have benefited from growth, then you are mistaken. Venus in Taurus is happy there. And you know what? Speaking of Venus and the moon both happy to be in Taurus, it seems like the perfect time to mention both the moon and Venus will be out of bounds during Taurus season. The moon, exalted in Taurus, means that we do care about what's happening, but the moon moves pretty quickly, you know. It shifts from one sign to the next every 2 or 2.5 days. So this is why I'm saying of all seasons, Taurus and Cancer season, because the moon is happy to be there, you really, really, really have to care about how you feel. Care about how you feel. So if you notice 5 of Swords behavior, recognize the message. And if it's not clear, that Mercury square Jupiter will probably make it a bit intense. Today is April 20th, so by April 23rd, that square is going to come in kind of hot for those of us who need a nudge. That's all. Need a nudge? It's fine. But in true Romeo and Juliet style, misshapen chaos of well-seeming forms, these are not like aspects that you can approach with a level of immaturity that lets you get away with anything. I guess that's basically what I'm trying to say. It's really, really, really not worth it to have that King of Wands only facing that direction all season long. Girl, no. We do need to move on, you know? And that said, this aspect of out of bounds nature with the moon and Venus during Taurus season, the moon is out of bounds 3 times this season. And yeah, the moon does move quickly, so the first time it happens, it'll be for like 3 days, the second time for 5 days, and the third time, I think it's for 3 or 4 days. So what matters is out of bounds essentially implies a little volatility. Taurus, if you corner the bull, expect volatility. You have to be so ignorant or willfully ignorant, prideful, King of Wands, prideful, but honest, which means you probably would not corner the bull, but you will notice a cornered bull. What the fuck am I talking about? All I'm saying is there's a lot of busy commotion that will look like it's fun to get involved, and then it will backfire. So just your atmosphere, I think it's important I think it's important for me to just encourage people to really, really get creative about your own atmosphere, like your aura, you internally, not whether you have an amethyst crystal or not. I'm saying literally, when you wake up, are you going to make a decision to acknowledge that you feel sad so you can change it? Or are we just going to sit in sadness for 24 hours until that becomes 7 days and 2 weeks and a month? Do you see what I'm saying? Because Taurus season is such a cool time to really, really, really care about how you feel and watch how it benefits you. And then, of course, per usual, you do need to discern who you share that with. You do need to discern who you communicate new news that is beautiful to you, what you find beauty in. Discern who you share that beauty with. Some people are not going to be in the mood because they are cornering themselves into a feeling they feel like they can't escape. And with all empathy considered and involved, still, that's their lesson, and don't get in the way of it. Stubbornness, butting your head against the wall, Taurus energy, Taurus season. So for the moon and Venus, both happy in Taurus, it does matter what the moon and Venus are doing during Taurus season. So for considering both of them are out of bounds, we're talking like erratic, volatile, but however, but very unusual, or rather uncommon, unforeseen artistic expressions, new forms, trends. They're going to trigger very strong reactions, uncommon responses, new inspiration. If you can find it within yourself to work up a new inspiration, you got to milk that for all it's worth. You have to. Because really, Venus out of bounds for half of Taurus season, starting May 6th, if you want the date, it'll go until the first week of June. This is a very innovative, avant-garde vibe surrounding relationships. So it can be a blessing because it'll just root what you already have started. It'll just encourage you. It'll put, motion into what you've already been doing. It'll free you of where you haven't been in a while, but it'll just become more and more and more part of your world. And with the moon out of bounds, Venus out of bounds, I just think it's important to acknowledge the fact that there are a lot of sides to how out of bounds behavior and sensations can lead you into complications. You can avoid them pretty easily, but we're talking Venus and moon. So again, your mood is going to be easy to change because it's inspired by a new life, a new way of living through yourself, not through other people. Think about it. Venus out of bounds for half of Taurus season. Volatile love is an oxymoron. Shakespeare loves an oxymoron. This is basically good old unrequited love. It's an option. That's all I'm saying. You could just not choose it, though. So that's why we mind our pace. That's why we mind our method. Because it's important that you get really familiar with something desirable that is uncommon to you. And in true Leo fashion here, it does require courage, willpower, momentum, energy. So you do need to move around. You don't have to rush. I would prefer that we don't rush. It is Taurus season. When have you ever seen a bull rush around? Now, if you corner a bull though, like if you feel like people are cornering you during Taurus season, just, open a window, change the air. Change the air. Did y'all know, a little fun fact, in terms of air, like air signs, but also the word air, it's a synonym for melody. May 16th, we have a new moon in Taurus, conjunct Mercury and Uranus. And within the last 5 days or so of Taurus season, Mercury, Moon, Venus, Uranus, they're all in Gemini during Taurus season, the last little bit of it. Oh, that was loud. I know you guys heard that. Yeah. Okay. Well, there's Pluto, if you were wondering. This is why, just side topic, this is why these videos are not for rising signs or sun sign or moon sign. It's just like, if you're alive, these are the moods that without the astrology, I just intuit. I write it all down. Like for a week, I write it down. And then I check the astrology to see if I'm like on point. And the thing about tarot is it brings in an unbiased aspect where that card was so loud coming out. I'm just shuffling. That's all I'm doing. Like, I don't pick what cards come out. I can't make this shit up. This is all fixed. Fixed. All of it is fixed sign. Leo, Aquarius, Pluto, and then all 4 of them are right here. If you spend your time while you're at work, while you're walking away from someone who's really annoying you in the present moment, like literally if they're like in front of your face and you're annoyed and you're walking away, as you walk away, I encourage anyone in that scenario or in that particular circumstance, however it comes about during Taurus season, focus on feeling grateful for what's already appreciating, including the fact that you're walking away. Appreciate the fact that your legs are literally walking you away from misshapen chaos in well-seeming forms. Oh, I just want to help you as you're walking away. Yeah, no, I don't think you do. I don't think you do. Make room for you to be with you. That's all. Stabilize what works. That doesn't mean you put your middle finger up to anything and everyone that mildly irritates you, because again, we're mature. We're mature about it. Oh, okay, I see the bullshit. Great. I think I'm just gonna be mature about it and literally move on though. Thanks for the lesson. Bye. Or not even the lesson, really. Sometimes it's just like, oh, I've learned that before. Interesting that that's in the environment, but I think I'm just going to change my atmosphere. So in the midst of an environment, like for example, let's say you have some roommates. So that is your home environment, a fixed environment, or your job, and your coworkers are assholes or something. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of examples, but yeah, if we spend a lot of time even at that job, let's say you're a receptionist and your coworkers gossip all the time, I think visualizing yourself exactly where you want to be, feeling really good about that in between the phone calls you're taking at the receptionist desk is very, very, very good use of your time. I'm just saying, the endings during a natural earthy season, when both the moon and Venus will be out of bounds for a while. Yeah. You're in charge of your cleansing method, your sharpening method. How do you want to work with the Pluto square? Because death reversed it can be, it can mean that we're actually pretty overwhelmed and we're tired from everything that we are saying goodbye to, that we are shifting away from, even if it's not a severe shift. That doesn't mean it's not going to bother you for a little bit. But again, this is why you care about how you feel. You are mature enough to handle it. You're going to be okay. With the death, the world reversed, 5 of Swords reversed, let the stagnation stay where it's at. It's not your path. That's not where you want to go. Even if you know that that path is right for you, like knowing literally in your mind, like, oh, I know this is the right thing for me to do. Okay, but your method needs to be minded. If you really know that something's good and right for you, but it just feels awful, or you're like, I just don't know why I'm not trying, or I'm not acting like that's what I know to be true. Yeah, exactly. This is the time to slow it down a little bit. Slow it down. Don't get super caught up in the why, but it's okay to be inquisitive. But maybe you can do that while you're taking a walk, because we do need to move around. That dandelion anime, I think, would be quite helpful. I think it would be quite helpful. Even just in Taurus season, to see scenarios play out, you might relate to one episode more than the other, but we all have earthly concerns as human beings, which is just to say, like, yeah, well, we're human right now, but on a soul level, whatever is sucking the life out of you needs a boundary, because that's your clue to pivot away from that And like a bull, just mosey on into a different direction where you start to notice everything that's working, anything that's working. There's, naturally speaking, like there's abundance everywhere. You spend time looking at trees long enough and it can get emotional during Taurus season, especially just for Taurus, like the archetype of Taurus. Spring energy, Taurus and Gemini, and Aries technically, obviously. But it is a bit of an oxymoron, no? Like everything's starting to spring up and bloom, and so now we want to get going and we want to move. And it's like, yep, that's great. Just why are we rushing though? Let's steady the current as frequently as possible, and then that becomes your main emotional, psychological, mental, physical world that you live in. And it directly impacts your internal locus of peace. Because it's common that that's not usually how it's said. It's like internal locus of control, which, by the way, is also a very Taurus mood too, because that's where the stubbornness can come in. But in a good way, the internal locus of control behaves more like peace. So this is a time where discerning your speech, minding your pace, all the stuff I've been saying is really for the sake of peace being a little bit more dominant in the body. Not really the mind, okay, the amount of times you have a thought that you do or do not pick up on, like relax. It is not Aquarius season, Gemini season. We'll do that later. First, the body at peace. Can you imagine the relaxation in the muscles if you felt good about the peace that you've achieved? If you just sat down somewhere outside, touch grass, that's the vibe. Even if you are feeling lethargic and tired and over it, and you know, you do live maybe with people who are kind of, you work or you live, or there's some fixed environment where this is what you're dealing with, living through, or amongst, then before you leave it behind, or before you shift and pivot your focus into doing something that feels good, just make sure you recognize it so you can peep it in the future. Like, you know, in Scorpio season, when the sun will square Pluto again. And it'll be a stronger mood then. But Taurus season is so busy. There's so much going on. We have Venus entering Gemini in 4 days. You know, Uranus re-enters Gemini April 26th. There's a full moon in Scorpio, May 1st. And of course, it squares Pluto. So, yeah. It's worth it. It's really worth it. Like May 16 onwards, that new moon in Taurus is a good marker to work with. Blend anything you've learned into like a personal melody, a personal calling. That becomes the air about you. When people say, oh, he or she just has that air about them. Yeah, they're probably familiar with their own personal calling. That's what you really feel when someone is, when someone's essence commands the attention of anyone in the room or the area you're in, and you think, oh, they just have an air about them. 29 degrees Gemini, that's where Venus will be at the end of Taurus season before Gemini season starts on the 21st. So that's my last note. I'm encouraging everyone to start blending. Form your melody, form your sound, form your posture, form your eating habits, your diet, your exercise. All of this is very Taurus season stuff. For a lot of us, it's a time of nostalgia new, or you are witnessing, experiencing, and maybe behaving like a circus act. Just remember, it is a choice. It is possible to change your method, but in Taurus season, it doesn't really work if you corner someone into changing, or if you feel cornered into changing. It's never, it doesn't stick, and it doesn't even feel right, even if it's like the smart choice. And so it's possible to acknowledge, the smart choice, but if it is being delivered or communicated like this, nobody wants to work with that. Ew. And it is worth saying, it can give you a bad reputation that maybe is a little over dramatic. Like slightly warranted, slightly unwarranted, because the impulse to dramatize and sensationalize during Taurus season it's there. Oh yeah, it's there. So like seriously, mind your method and mind your pace. For real. The Sabian symbol for 29 degrees Gemini is the first mockingbird of spring. So of course, obviously the mockingbird has a song. The birds chirping in the springtime. The flowers blooming, reaching out to the sun. The soil is warming up, and so are you. Just really, really, if you care about which value is directing your time, your focus, your attention, that right there is going to give you a lot of information about yourself. And of course, as soon as you learn anything about yourself, you can peep whether that lesson has been learned in someone else or not. It's just not the time to be combative, but people will feel the impulse to be just, they'll just behaving like oxymorons. That's all I'm saying. The Pluto square is a bit much. It's a bit much. Excuse my gulp. Don't know if that could be heard on camera, But yeah, guys, that's it. That's it. I will shuffle for one more card. And I don't know if I'm going to say anything about it or not because the reading is technically over. But this is what I want to do, and I'm in the mood, and it feels right. So let's see. A lot of social vibes, squaring with personal ones. And those kind of squares can really be great teachers. Okay. Ooh, well. Yeah, a lot is at stake. A lot is at stake. Like, these are family matters. Like I said, personal and social. It's not just the Mercury-Jupiter square going on that will trigger that, but there's also a Uranus squaring the North Node, and that starts during Taurus season in 3 days specifically, and it goes until Virgo season, and that is a Virgo card, so that's why I'm saying that. 10 of Pentacles reversed. Nobody wants family hazardous vibes going on. But like I mentioned, the Romeo and Juliet vibes are in Taurus season. Like loud, clear, obvious. Some families play these hazardous games and they really twist your heart into this like contorted idea of love. And somehow that contortion, although it will drain you, it might also convince you that you're gaining something because you're around family again, or however it comes about. So your awareness of what's not working is useful up until a point. If that is your focus all Taurus season, it's just going to be miserable. Make sure you see the sun. Make sure you get outside. Talk to a friend on the phone. Don't text anymore. You need to hear someone who loves you laugh with you just about the absurdity of life. Stuff like that is helpful. I do feel like that is enough to pivot folks away from responding to any kind of scenario that looks like those cards. Specifically the 4 and like these 4 right here. Like it's just not, it's not cute to be loyal to this kind of family structure, this living environment, these kinds of friends. Loyal for what? So that you can become their therapist because you have the energy and maturity to see things and not take them in and still be honest with people. But like, for what though? Why? What are they doing that back? Are they even capable? If they're not, just leave them alone. Let them learn their lesson. Let them butt their heads against the wall and complain about anything beautiful. But in Taurus season, there's not, look, okay, this is the last thing I'm gonna say. In Taurus season, beauty can really piss people off if it is being shared with anyone who cannot, for the life of them, recognize it. You really got to leave people alone where they're at. Just let them be. Because in a lot of ways, that becomes like, are you cornering the bull? Or can you just leave them alone? Just leave them alone. I mean, they might not want to leave you alone because you are like this. You're coming in with the vibes and the fashion and the you know, there's a reason why I chose the colors for this video. The blanket. It's a faux fur. But it's that juicy plum, burgundy, grape, you know, spring fruit tone. Like, of course, you're gonna look delectable to everybody if that's what you're on. But you really do need to be able to slow it down and notice at a pace that you keep. Chaos comes when someone else's pace and desires and needs and wants are yanking on your beauty, on your ability to appreciate what's working, I don't know, just anything that's beautiful is worth the act of appreciating. But that kind of behavior pisses negative people off. It pisses them off. So just leave them alone. Just let them be mad at the world. We all have reasons to be mad at the world, kind of low key. So just, you know, okay, that's where they're at. I'm gonna go have fun. Maybe we'll catch up later. You know, just keep it light. Keep it light, keep it airy. Keep that air about you. Keep that air about you. Okay? Yeah, I think that's it. I could list off so much other astrology, but we would be here for the next like 10 hours. So, okay, that's it. Mind your method, mind your pace, and sensitize your physical experience responsibly.